Guys, it's Kalia here, and today I'm here to talk to you about how to transition from your 9 to 5 into real estate investing full time. Again, I'm Kalia. I'm a real estate investor coach. I'm here located in Washington, D.C. I've been in the business since 2003. I started off as a wholesaler. Actually, my background is engineering and went to school for engineering, had an engineering job, hated my job. I was actually working at the Pentagon. And so one day I just kind of decided that I was going to quit. Didn't have a backup plan. I wasn't even really sure that I was going to get into real estate at the time. I was taking a personal development class. And in that class, I met somebody who was telling me that their friend was actually getting mentored to invest in real estate. So I said, okay, well, that sounds interesting. I want to know about real estate too. Can you give me their number? So I got the person's number. I gave them a call. And then from there, that person became my wholesaling coach, my real estate wholesaling coach. I had started off, I was targeting people who were going into foreclosure, and I was asking them basically if they wanted to sell their house. And through that, I was able to get 2 deals. And for those who aren't familiar, I was actually targeting foreclosures or pre-foreclosures, and I was doing direct mail. So that's how I was able to get in contact with them. And when I would meet with them, I would just ask them to buy their house. And through that, again, I was able to do 2 deals. One was actually a rehab. The other one was actually a wholesale deal. The wholesale deal was somebody who had inherited a house that they didn't want. And so that deal was actually the one where I was able to make $15,000. And the other one was a rehab. On that one, I probably made about, I don't know, maybe $20,000, $30,000, something like that. It's been so long ago since I did that deal. It was actually one in Baltimore. So that's just a little bit about me. Since actually getting into real estate, I later went on to get my real estate license, and I also co-own a real estate brokerage in DC. And through that, I've pretty much done training, coaching, vacation rentals. I've done flipping. I've done appraisal work. So I've done a little bit of everything. And sales-wise, I've been responsible for about $60 million in sales. That's myself and the others that I've worked with or I've trained over the years. Since about 2005, I've been training. So let's just jump right into it now, since you have a little bit about my background. So again, the question is how to transition from your 9 to 5 into real estate investing full time. And so I have 3 tips for you. The first one is definitely you have to have faith in what you're doing. So once you decide, I know right now some are doing research, they're deciding if this is going to be for them. But once you decide that this is what you want to do, you definitely have to have faith in it. So when you look at, let's say, for instance, how much money you're going to make per deal, you have to kind of compare, okay, well, I'm going to make, let's say, $15,000. How many hours am I going to spend on that? And is it worth me to work a 9 to 5 versus me actually doing real estate deals? So you have to kind of compare the two based upon how much time you're putting in, how much flexibility you have, and you have to know that this is what you want for yourself. Because starting off, even if you have a full-time job, this may not be very lucrative at first. You know, you may have to get used to, especially if you're somebody and you don't really have a sales background. Like for myself, for instance, I didn't have a sales background. I didn't have any real estate experience. So I learned a lot of things on the way. And so even though I may have lucked up and had a couple of deals here and there, it did take time for me to start to generate enough income for me to be able to live comfortably. So definitely you have to commit to yourself, know that this is what you want to do, and then just be willing to put the time into it, and you have to sacrifice. So the second tip is if you're looking to get into real estate full time, and this is what I did myself, but I would say not to consume too much. So you don't want to get in the habit, if you know, for instance, you want to leave your job. Like for instance, when I knew that I wanted to leave my job, I was actually looking to buy a condo at the time. And I decided to pass up on the condo because I knew that, okay, I hate this job. I'm not going to stay with this job. So why would I get into a situation where I'm buying a condo and I'm going to have this monthly commitment? And I already really had another house in Baltimore. So I had a house in Baltimore and I was looking at getting a condo. So I was getting further into debt. And I just said, okay, well, no, I don't need to get this condo right now. Let me just sacrifice and stay where I am. And actually my house in Baltimore, I ended up renting that out so that I could free up more income. So I freed up income that way. And then also the car that I had, when I started working my engineering job, like a lot of my peers, because when I started off, let's say I was making about $50,000, $60,000, most of my peers had went out and brought new cars. I didn't have a new car. So at that time I had a Toyota Tercel. And that car was paid for, and it was like a 99, 98. I didn't get a new car. So I basically sacrificed by not adding on more expenses, because I knew at the end of the day, I knew I hated that job. I knew I didn't want to stick with the job. And so I knew that I just couldn't put myself out there and take on more expenses or more than what I could afford. So the other thing is to associate with like-minded individuals. So definitely like going to events where real estate investors are hanging out, whether you join, let's say, for instance, the RIA. One question the other day was, what do I think about the RIA? The RIA is a great place to network. That's the Real Estate Investor Association. It's a great place to network whether you join or not, but just to get the phone numbers and contact information of other people in real estate. I actually still have the business cards today of people that I've met in 2005. So every business card that I've gotten, I've actually saved those contacts. I don't necessarily talk to people all the time, but I do put them in my database and I do have their information. So it's good to network and just kind of get a feel for what other people are doing. So when I would meet other investors, if they told me they were doing projects, I would go see their projects. I would go tour their properties they were rehabbing, ask questions, find out what they were doing, because investors love to talk about what they're doing. And so you may not have a deal for them right then and there, but you can kind of say, okay, well, if I come across something, can I run it past you and see what you think about it? So definitely you want to be contacting with like-minded individuals. Let's see. The other one is you got to take daily action. So for instance, like when I first got into real estate, or actually before I got into it, when I was working that job that I hated, I spent a lot of time on the train. I was reading a lot of books. There were some investor forums that were online, and I wasn't active at the time. I was just kind of going on there reading until my eyeballs hurt. But I was going on and I was reading, and so I was just trying to obtain as much information as I could. But to be honest with you, I wasn't able to actually do a deal until I got a mentor, because I was kind of stuck in all of this research, but I wasn't doing anything. So it really just depends upon your personality. Like some people are able to read those books and have the inspiration and also take action. I wasn't able to do that. I wasn't able to read the books and have a full enough understanding, because I'm pretty much more of an analytical person, which is probably how I got into engineering in the first place. So I wasn't able to take steps after absorbing all of this information. I'm more of like somebody, I need instruction. So I knew that I needed somebody who was going to tell me step by step what I needed to do. So once I got my mentor, it didn't take long for me to make a decision whether or not I was going to work with that person or not. So once he told me he could mentor me, probably like that next week, I had already started targeting sellers. And then when I got somebody, I just kept, touching base with them. Hey, yeah, this is where my deal is at. What should I do about this? What should I do about that? So I was always talking to him on the phone, and I was always bringing deals. So there wasn't too much delay between me deciding to work with him and me actually taking action. So one thing I would say is that you got to take action. So at some point, you're absorbing all this information. You got to kind of start somewhere. So you got to figure out, well, where is it going to be best for me to start? Once you decide what it is you want to do, like let's say some people want to get a real estate license. Some people may want to become a landlord. But whatever it is, you got to choose one and then just start to take action daily towards that one thing. And you'll see that even though, let's say you start one way, because I told you already, like I've probably done 10 different niches within real estate investing. So once you start with one thing, it doesn't mean that you're going to do that one thing for the rest of your life, but you got to be able to start somewhere to get to the next step. So you definitely got to do that. And the other one is, actually the last tip that I have for you, this is number 5, is that you definitely want to kind of look into maybe partnering with other people. So I would say partnering with others is actually another tidbit that kind of helped me to leverage myself and actually get into it full time. So I did end up partnering with someone when I actually started the real estate brokerage. I have a partner with that. And actually we partnered even before we had the brokerage. So we both had our sales licenses. And so what we would do is we would just split our commission. So no matter who we were working with or how many deals we had going on, we didn't really focus on that. The main focus was just splitting our commissions and splitting the commission. So we were able to break things down. So then that way, if one person was doing a deal and another wasn't, you were still able to earn income. And so I would say that worked out fantastically, because even like, let's say if I was pregnant and I was having a baby, okay, well, maybe she was doing deals, or when she was pregnant, I was doing deals. So we actually really partnered up until Actually, up until I went to Africa, that's kind of when things slowed down. But we partnered for a good 10 years. Or 9 years, we partnered on actually doing real estate deals. And so that worked out great for myself and for her. So just to recap, the 5 tips that I have for you in order to transition from your 9 to 5 into real estate full time is: 1, you got to have faith and commit to what you're doing. Don't consume too much as far as like taking on extra debt and expenses, and associate with like-minded individuals. Take action daily, and then partner with other individuals. So does anybody have questions just about the tips that we went over today? Hi, Princess. How are you? Hi, Sharika. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. And feel free to jump in on the challenge that I have going on, because with this challenge, even if you decide that it's not for you because you're not looking for, the challenge actually is gaining more leads. But even if you decide, okay, I'm not ready right now, I'm still researching, even if you're just looking to make extra income, you can sell those leads. So I've even taught people before who were, I have one lady, for instance, she does real estate concierge services. So that's her business. And I taught her to get leads, and she's actually selling those same leads to other investors. So even if you're not sure what you want to do with the leads right now, you can actually work as a bird dog. A bird dog is basically just somebody who scouts for deals, and then they sell those leads to other investors. So they're not actually like wholesaling. They're not getting anything under contract. The only thing they're doing is just finding the leads and selling those leads. So that is an extra way to make income. Where I live, for instance, in Washington, D.C., people sell those leads for about $3 a lead. I had someone asking me the other day if I knew somebody they could buy leads from. So that can be a source of income. So there's plenty of things that you can do within real estate to be able to make income while you learn. So it doesn't have to be just, oh, okay, I'm learning, but I'm not making any money. So let's see if there's anything. Okay. You're welcome, Princess. Oh, leads. Okay, yeah. So these leads, the Gain More Leads Challenge, that's a 14-day challenge. And the challenge actually shows you how you can get leads from your local courthouse. So depending upon where you live, each county is a little bit different, but it does show you how you can get leads. Those are motivated seller leads. So these are people who are in a situation where they need to sell their house more than likely, or a high chance of needing to sell their house. And so what you can do is you can get those leads, you can call those sellers or those owners and ask them if they're interested in selling their house. But if you decide that you don't want to call people, some people are nervous, they don't want to call, at least you know, okay, well, I have these leads, I have these homeowners who are motivated to sell, and you can possibly sell those leads to other investors. So that is a kind of way to, let's say, even if you found an investor, he's looking to help you along, you can pass him along some leads, or he can pay you for the leads, whichever you decide. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. Okay, so that's it for today. Okay, bye-bye.